I'm Eric, creator of Late to the Game Outdoors. For those of you that know me, this will be sort of an explanation as to what in the world I'm doing here. For those that I don't know, hi, by the way, this will just give you some insight into what this whole thing is all about. Late to the Game Outdoors started as kind of a project I've been thinking on for a few years now, and it's part of actually something much bigger than hunting. I mean, don't get me wrong, hunting's a big part of it, and the late to the game part is for those of us that feel like we are playing catch-up when it comes to hunting. If you watch a lot of Outdoor Channel or the big guys on YouTube, it seems like everybody was born in a hunting shack with a bow in their hand, and if you're like me, a guy who didn't really get serious about it until he was a full-grown adult with job and wife and kids and all that stuff, it feels like you're kind of always behind the eight ball. So this is kind of hunting for the rest of us, that as I figure things out, I will share them with you, and hopefully we can just have a conversation that makes us all better outdoorsmen. As I said, this is also about something so much more than hunting. You see, for the past few years, I have been fixated on this idea of authentic masculinity, or true manliness, or whatever you want to call it, but I found myself kind of entering my 30s with a lot of questions I didn't even realize I was asking about what it truly means to be a man. And I had some uncertainty as to whether I had what it took to be a man. And as I began to dig into that and research that and talk to other guys about it, I found out there's a lot of us asking these questions. Sometimes we're asking them secretly and quietly and don't really know what to do about it. But it's easy in our society today to grow up and never really be sure when you've arrived at manhood. As I dug deeper and deeper into this topic, I began to find clarity for myself in two key places. The first and the most foundational was Jesus. Learning what he taught and modeled about masculinity and having a better understanding of what he says about me as a man is huge. In fact, I would say to anyone, male or female, who's struggling with some sort of identity uncertainty issue, the source of that is an inaccurate understanding of who Jesus is and what he says about us. The second area I began to get some clarity about this whole thing was in hunting. I'm not saying everyone needs to hunt, but for me, a lot of stuff started to click. There was just something so primal about getting into the wilderness and going up against an animal, engaging in this thing that mankind has been doing since the dawn of time, of trying to match wits with a creature whose instincts are fine-tuned to make him better at staying alive than you are at killing him. It's amazing. Now, I'm not saying every man needs to hunt. Far from it. There are 1,000 different ways we could explore this topic and begin to connect with that inner man and start to get clarity on these issues for ourselves. Hunting is just what works for me. And so this project is going to focus heavily on hunting. There's going to be plenty that is just pure technical, here's how to hunt and what I've learned and how to be successful in the field. But it's all going to be wrapped in a much bigger conversation about what it means to be a man in this society and how we can rest easy and rest confidently knowing who we are and feeling assured that we have what it takes, that we can succeed. So if you're a hunter, or you aspire to be a hunter, or think about giving it a shot one day, stick around. We're going to learn a lot of stuff together and begin to figure out how to be more effective in the field and at putting meat in the freezer. Specifically, if you're a female hunter, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. My wife is a hunter. My daughter will be a hunter. Please be a part of the conversation. I have found as I've dug into this bigger subject on manliness that the women have an awful lot to say about what it truly means to be a man, and we want to hear your point of view. I promise not to make anything too overly macho or bro-like or disgusting. If you have no interest in hunting whatsoever, but are intrigued by this conversation of the state of masculinity in the world today and what it means to really be a man, please stick around and engage. Filter through some of the more technical hunting stuff that doesn't interest you, and be part of the conversation that is much bigger than simply going into the woods after an animal. And if you never want to hunt ever in your life, and don't think there's a problem with men in general in our society today, totally fine. But if this describes someone that you know who might be interested, I would be so grateful if you would forward this on to them, encourage them to engage in the conversation. Thanks so much for watching. please subscribe on the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and we will start to have a conversation that makes us better outdoorsmen and better men in general.